Today the internet has been more annoying than usual. In fact, it's been extremely frustrating. I need to give some backstory. So this YouTuber, anti-feminist YouTuber called Bearing, sent an email to a dude called Danny saying, should I refer to you as Danny, and then had information about his college. And so this email came out yesterday, I think, and it was like, holy shit, Bearing is threatening to dox this guy, trying to intimidate him. Now that seems pretty skeezy. I released the email with some redaction, and then a kind of like vortex of excuse-mongering just descended. A lot of them like, oh, it's not real, it's fake, it's made up. Even though that would be completely out of character for Danny, because I've never seen him edit something like that or make something up. So we're trying to figure out a way to confirm that it was real. And Danny forwarded the email to me, and I saw it, and yes, it was real, and it was timestamped, and that was the email. And then they were trying to figure out, like, okay, why did that happen? Why did Bearing threaten to dox? Oh, and other people, excuse mongers. Oh, no, he wasn't threatening to dox him. That wasn't a threat at all. It was just a joke. Ha 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 ha. Funny stuff. Oh, comedy. To me, that's tribal nonsense. You are making excuses for Bearing because you like him. Fuck you. You apologist, tribalist. Fuck off. Obviously, it was a threat. He was threatening him with doxing. If you can't see that, in my personal opinion, I have no particular use for your point of view on the subject anymore. Because you're a tribalist. You just make excuses based on whether you like someone. Fuck off. So then they were looking for the context as to why this happened. Kevin Logan covered the email. Bearing made a response video to this where he did not deny the fact that he sent this email, and tribalists from the anti-feminist side still can't admit that means that, yeah, it like Occam's razor, he didn't deny it. I think that confirms that he sent it. Stop making excuses. He sent that email. I've seen the forwarded email. Oh, God, I hate you people. So there was no denial there. He admitted that he sent it. But then he was like, oh, Mr. Kevin Logan, in his stupid, dumb fuck voice, did you point out the fact that this other guy doxed my full name the other day? No, you didn't. Like, okay, what does that have to do with your behavior? What does that have to do with your behavior? So then I start talking to some other people on the Twitter machine, and they say, oh, actually, Bearing threatened to dox Danny because Danny was involved in the dox that this other guy did. And they were coordinating and they were friends. So I talked to Danny, I said, did you have any coordination with him about doing that? He said, no. In fact, I saw his tweet and I disapproved, I didn't like it. So where'd that come from? I don't know, just make it up, just invent things. You know, might as well just make up some conspiracy. And then why would Bearing threaten to dox Danny based on what some other guy did? Like, the narrative, the story, has no logical consistency. It's desperately grasping for straws, trying to find some reason to say that what he did was okay. Again, that's just apologetics. Fuck off. And so then I checked the timeline of this whole situation. The person who doxed Bearing's last name sent his tweets at like 10:56 the same day, and his phone was on Eastern Standard Time. The email that got sent to Danny was at like 10:15 a.m. The same day. Now, unfortunately, the person who did the doxing tweet of Bearing has deleted those tweets, and there's only one image of that tweet doxing Bearing's name that has the date and time on it. So I can show that tweet, but I can't confirm it beyond that, which means that Bearing intimidated Danny for a tweet that was going to be sent like 40-something minutes in the future, so Bearing can time travel. It's really amazing the things you can achieve with the internet and apologia for things. You know, with apologia, you can make anything happen. Bearing can go back in time to pre-intimidate somebody tangentially related to a guy who doxed him in the future. Isn't it amazing? I mean, it's incredible. I don't often get into calling people liars or dishonest because I cannot read their minds. But what is clear is that Bearing and some of his apologists saying that it was vengeance for him being doxed by that other guy, it doesn't check out. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's debunked. It doesn't make any sense. The timelines are not consistent. It like, logically, I don't understand it. It's based on pure speculation. So, instead of taking responsibility, as per usual, Bearing just makes excuses And I will say in this situation, lies. I think he lied about it. On another subject where he stole all of his artwork for his channel, his video was just him making excuses and saying, oh, you can see that I was only responsible for like 10% of that image, even though it looked pretty much exactly the same, so, you know, I wasn't really that much at fault, to be honest, you know. Making excuses, trying to make himself out to look like a better person, and then saying, I donate the money that I made off this company to charity. Like, what has it got to do about whether you actually stole the artwork, you know? He can't take responsibility for things. I don't think he has the integrity to do that, and I just see him as... Yeah, I mean, I just see him as very dishonest. Like, he can't tell the truth about things. When he's confronted with something that he's obviously done, which is intimidate somebody with doxing, he just turns around and says, oh, look at this deflection. Look at this thing over here. He can't take responsibility for his behavior, and for this, I just see him as a very scummy person who just doesn't have integrity. So I think we could just put him aside. There's no expectation he's ever going to act with any kind of integrity, or that he's ever going to really take responsibility for his own mistakes and his own actions and his own decisions. He's just going to pettifog, as Bill O'Reilly would say, and make excuses. Now, I thought that Kevin Logan basically had it covered with his video, so I didn't feel the need to make a video about it. So why am I making a video now? Well, the reason is because while I was asleep, apparently a bunch of feminists on Facebook and other places were having conversations about this, and they thought that it would be a really good idea to get an image of Bering, you know, what he looks like, to share links of websites that Bering is on with his private information, and then talk among themselves about what to do with this information. Now, I was in bed at the time, so I didn't see any of this, but I was told about it when I woke up, that the reaction that some people on the feminist side are having to this is, you know what? What is doxing really? Is it really doxing when you share private information about someone else just among your friends? It's just private stuff. I mean, I'm sure it won't leak out. It's not like that kind of thing happens. I mean, is that really doxing? And so their reaction is to start making excuses for doxing themselves, and to make excuses for that person who doxed Bering's last name. Bering may have completely fabricated the significance of that individual and basically lied and said he had anything to do with Danny, which he didn't. But nonetheless, that person doxed Bering's name, and that's entirely wrong, because it's very, very counterproductive to say, hey, I'm really against doxing, and I'm going to take a stand against doxing. Oh, by the way, look, all these fucking people on my side are involved in doxing. Oh, that's fine, no problem. You know, they're on my side, so they can just dox away. Who gives a shit? No, I mean, I don't stand for that. So if I had been awake and not in bed while all of this is happening, I would have screenshotted the shit out of that, and I would have covered that on this video and said, this is hypocritical. These feminists and these people who are part of social justice, they think the way to respond to a scumbag like Bering is to gather more of his private info with the intent of what? I don't know what they want to do with it. If I had more information about it, I would share it with you now, because I think that is tribalism, and it's stupid, and it's counterproductive. How can you fight against doxing if you get involved in doxing yourself? So I don't want to be part of a community, or I don't want to be part of a group of people who think that that is a logical response to something that you see that you don't like. Look, Bering's doing something disgusting. Hey, let's do something disgusting in response. That's a really smart idea. No, that's fucking stupid. And I've been against doxing like this entire time. When I was fighting against Atheism is Unstoppable for his doxing, I wasn't fighting against him because I don't like him. I was fighting against him because I don't like his doxing. So when Bering threatened someone with doxing, I called that out. And when that person doxes Bering's last name, I'm going to call that out. And if feminist people start going down this road, it's the wrong way to go, and I will call you out, and I will say, the feminist community or the social justice community itself is kind of toxic. Look at it. Look at this bullshit that they're trying to think up in response to something that they had the moral high ground on. But it seems to me that today, from what I saw, feminists were like, hey, let's just get rid of the moral high ground. We don't need that anymore. Let's just sink to their level. That's the right way to respond to this. You know, so I'm very disillusioned and annoyed and angry at the feminist community today. And it makes me think, like, I don't necessarily have a place here, because I'm not going to do things just tribally like you people want to do. And if I have to burn bridges because you're getting involved in some sleazy behavior that I hate and that I'm against, then I'm going to call you out. And we're not going to be friends anymore, I guess, unless you're okay being friends with someone who calls you out. Because I'm not going to be part of that kind of fucking cesspool, to be honest. You know, I have no interest in that. And I don't really believe in horseshoe theory. I think it's just an excuse most of the time. It's this stupid idea that people on the way far left and the way far right are extreme. But it's hard not to think that there's some validity to horseshoe theory when much of the day I'm having an argument with a hardcore, notorious feminist about, is this doxing? Is that doxing? I mean, just when I share this kind of information with these people, that's not really doxing, is it? And me getting increasingly frustrated, like I'm sick of these fucking excuses, this is driving me nuts, I gotta get away from this goddamn conversation because you're making me go crazy. I go on Twitter and I start talking to an hardcore anti-feminist, and then he starts going like, is this doxing? Is that doxing? And I'm just like, I'm tired of this tribal fucking crap. I'm tired of the us versus them. I'm tired of the fucking sides. I'm not on any of your fucking sides. I agree with many of the concepts of social justice, but I do not agree with scummy tactics. And when anti-feminists like Baron use scummy tactics and lie and smear, the response is not to use scummy tactics and try to hunt down their private information. What are you going to do with that information? So, I mean, I'm like this close to being like, fuck everybody. I'm like, I just want to burn it all down. I'm fucking sick of this. I'm sick of the anti-feminist partisans who make any excuse to be like, this scummy behavior is fine because I like this person. And I'm sick of the feminists and the social justice crowd who are looking for ways to justify their own kind of vengeance. Because it would just be a doxing war, and I hope all of you fucking people die in it, but you just leave me alone. Because, you know, I didn't want to make videos on this subject. But I turn around and I see my community acting like fucking bottled shit, and can we just retire the internet, please? And people stop making excuses for doxing. I mean, if the feminist social justice community continues this way, I've had it with it. And I'm out. Fucking Audi 500. So, do with that what you will.